So you're thinking of leaving California? Yeah, you and a lot of other people. But here's the thing, selling your home here while you're trying to buy one in a totally different state, it can feel like you're walking a high-wire act with no net. It is, no joke, one of the most stressful financial moves you can make. So today, we're going to break down the strategy to make sure you land safely on the other side. Let's start with what's at stake.
And the stakes are high. I want you to look at this number. In just one single market in Southern California, the Santa Clarita Valley, 178 homes failed to sell in the last 180 days. That's almost one home per day that went on the market and just fizzled out. This isn't just a string of bad luck, you know? It's a huge sign that sellers are making some really critical mistakes.
And let's be super clear about what an expired listing really is. This isn't someone just pulling their home off the market after a few weeks. No, this means the property sat there for the entire length of the contract. We're talking 3, 6, sometimes even a full year without a single good offer. It is the absolute worst-case scenario for a seller, especially when you're trying to relocate. So, how do you make sure you don't become one of those statistics? Well, here's our game plan. We're going to start with why so many homes are failing to sell in the first place. Then we'll get into how to prep your home for a win. After that, we'll tackle the crazy logistics of buying and selling at the same time. And we'll finish with the single most critical step you absolutely cannot afford to skip.
Okay, so what is going on here? If we can really understand the root causes of why so many homes fail to sell, well then we can make darn sure yours isn't one of them.
You might think it's a complicated mix of a dozen different things, but honestly, the data is incredibly clear. Just look at this. A whopping 60% of the time, the reason a home doesn't sell comes down to one simple, powerful thing: the price. If you are priced wrong from day one, pretty much nothing else matters.
Now, price is the biggest piece of the pie for sure, but that other 40% still matters. This is where you have to get real and look at the smaller details. How's your competition? Is the house down the street in better shape? Is your marketing even reaching the right buyers? And then you've got those unfixable things, like being right on a busy street or under power lines. The takeaway here is you have to be brutally honest with yourself about how your home stacks up against the ones that are actually selling.
All right, enough with the problems, let's get to the solutions. And here's the good news. Making your home really stand out doesn't always mean you have to open up your wallet. In fact, some of the most powerful changes you can make cost you nothing but a little bit of time.
I like to think about improvements in two different buckets. In the first bucket, you've got the stuff with the price tag, like a kitchen renovation. For those, you have to ask one question. Will I get my money back? I mean, if a $5,000 upgrade doesn't add at least $5,000 to your sale price, it's probably not worth doing. But that second bucket, that's where the magic is. These are the changes that cost you nothing but a bit of elbow grease.
So what's in this no-cost action plan? It's really simple, but it's so powerful. You know that spare bedroom you turned into a home office? Turn it back into a bedroom. Take down all the family photos, the personal collections, all of it. See, it's really hard for a buyer to imagine their life in a home when your life is all over every single wall. The whole goal is to create a neutral canvas for them.
It really just comes down to this simple idea. You might as well make the property as vanilla as possible. Now, this isn't about making your home boring. It's about being strategic. You want to appeal to the widest possible audience out there. And that means letting potential buyers mentally move their own furniture and their own lives right into your space.
Okay, so your home is prepped, it's priced right, you're ready to go. Now comes the trickiest part of moving out of state. The logistics. How in the world do you sell one home and buy another one at the exact same time?
I mean, this is the question that keeps sellers up at night, right? You need the money from your California sale to buy your next home, but you can't just wait until it closes to start looking, or you could end up with nowhere to live. So how do you nail this delicate timing?
The secret is all about following a very careful strategic sequence. The ideal scenario looks like this. First, get your current home under contract, into escrow. Now this next part is crucial. You wait until your buyer has done their inspections and formally removed all of their contingencies. At that point, their deposit is locked in and the deal is very, very likely to close. Then, and only then, do you make an offer on your new home out of state. This sequence protects you, and it proves to that next seller that you're a serious buyer with secure funds.
So we've covered pricing, we've covered prepping the home, and we've covered timing. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. It's arguably the most important, and it's a mistake that people relocating make all the time. So think about it. You're juggling packers, you're getting quotes for moving companies, you're dealing with all this closing paperwork. It is so tempting to try and cut corners on the other end of the deal just to save a little time or a plane ticket. But what is the one corner you absolutely positively cannot cut?
This, right here. You find a home you love in your new state, you get it under contract, and the inspection gets scheduled. It is a massive, massive mistake to not be there in person. You might think, oh, I'll just read the report. It's fine. You would be so wrong.
So why is being there in person so important? Well, because an inspection report is just a piece of paper. It's black and white. As our expert puts it, there's nothing like that time moment getting it directly from them. When you're standing there, you get to hear the inspector's tone of voice when they point something out. They'll tell you what's a major red flag versus what's just a minor weekend fix in a way that a written report just never can. That direct, in-the-moment feedback, it's priceless. So as you start planning your big move out of California, just remember it's about so much more than just packing boxes. Selling a home and buying another is a complex financial maneuver, and it requires a clear-eyed strategy from the very beginning to the very end. So the question isn't just whether your bags are packed, it's whether your plan is solid enough to get you to your next chapter without any major bumps in the road.